Hello everyone and welcome to episode 11 of the UK League Chat podcast. First one of 2020, first one of the new series, the new season. Brand new split. Joined by Tom Daniels, now permanent co-host. You right, Tom?
Yes, I got the gig. Finally got the gig. There's so many times you could bring me on before you had to say, right, this is the co-host. So,
he's not going to leave. I'll just let him stay for good.
Exactly.
And we are lucky to be joined by NVision Support Prosfair. Prosfair, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thanks for coming. I'm going to start off then. I'll shoot some questions straight to you, Prosfair. Obviously, before you've just joined NVision, you were last playing for Fnatic last summer, and I think kind of left sort of partway through the split. What have you been up to then? I think you went to Korea, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
So after I left Fnatic, I was kind of chilling, just trying to see if I could get on a team for EU Masters. It didn't really look likely, and Kerberos was already in Korea, so I thought, I'm not really doing anything for the rest of the season. I'm not going to get a chance to play in EU Masters or anything. Playing US solo queues, it could be productive if I tried, but I think going to Korea is, at least for me, it was like, if I'm going to be trying in the US, I might as well be trying somewhere where the environment's a little better anyway. And also I was kind of the opinion that as a player, getting your career kind of halted or stopped is really, really bad for your reputation. Having momentum, once people think you're good, it's really easy to quickly rack up from one level of team to the next, and kind of leapfrog your way up the ranks of the level of team you're playing for. But the moment that kind of stops, it's really jarring and hard to kind of combat. And I thought the best kind of way to improve your CV as a player is, go to Korea, hit a high rank. So that was kind of the thought process behind it.
How high did you get?
900 LP, which is about top 120. It was 122 on the server at the time.
Decent.
So I'd say it was a pretty big success.
Was that
it's higher than I've been on the US ever.
Oh wow.
So
nice.
US harder server, I guess.
Was that your yeah? Was that your first time then in Korea?
Yeah, first time outside of Europe actually.
Oh, so what did you think? It was a big difference then, the solo queue there?
Yeah, it's massive. I'd say mechanically, even the D1 players are about as better than the average. I'd say average challenger, but that's kind of it depends what you mean, because I feel like challengers follow a lot of players that are diamond last season. Ever since they changed the matchmaking, challengers are actually full of players who have no clue how to play the game, who are just in there for whatever. Honestly, I don't even understand how they win enough games to stay there, but they're over really good National League talent or even LEC players. So even the D1s are mechanically on a level of the kind of people who are winning EU Masters, stuff like that. The way they play the game is really it's like a team deathmatch. They just permanently fight. So mechanics are really on point. Game knowledge, not so much until you get to the games full of pros. But yeah, I'd say it's on a whole other level.
Was there any of these superstar Koreans that you laned against then? Get Deft or Mata or anyone in your games?
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone in the LCK, and all the trainee people. I played as Faker as well. I think I did play as Mata. I don't know if I played against Deft specifically, but because I think he was he not? I don't know if he was in Europe for Worlds.
Oh, right.
I'm actually trying to think. I think he played in the team at Worlds, but it's kind of hard to know who you're playing. It's I don't check OpGG all the time, and everyone's name's in Korean, so it's hard to know whose account is who unless it's it's I know Fake's account obviously.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, then, would you say that by going to Korea, it kind of helped you more than what it would be if you just rushed onto an EU Masters team? Because it would have been quite last minute to have gone to an EU Masters team, wouldn't it, with preparation? So was it by taking that little bit of time apart to then go to Korea and and basically train and practice? Do you think that you've come out as a better player of what you would have done?
Yeah, no doubt. I don't even think it's close. I think going to a team on EU Masters, or even if I hadn't have left Fnatic, I think I'm far better of a player now for it than I would have been if I'd have just stayed on Fnatic and would have come top 4 EU Masters. Because I'll be honest, I don't think Ronaldo had a particularly great performance as a support. I don't think the swapping him and Matty were doing on who was the carry was particularly effective. I think they got I don't think that Fnatic team was particularly well-rounded or cohesive. They have some decent players, and they kind of just got a pretty easy draw to top 4. Not to top 4 EU Masters, obviously nothing to sell it's not an easy thing to achieve, but I don't really think the removing me for Ronaldo and Shikari for Bando, like, I think there were reasons the team did it, and they didn't really work. The team was dysfunctional before, and the team was dysfunctional after, and still they made top 4. So honestly, I'm kind of glad I got out and got a chance to focus on myself, because I don't think that environment was particularly productive either.
And I think you kind of like you could see that there wasn't as much practice with that Fnatic Rising squad in general, because obviously, you know, before with Shikari and you'd had, you know, more than a split together, so you kind of knew each other inside and out, and so it did feel a little bit like, I wonder if they just thought that, you know, Bando and Ronaldo might have had a higher skill cap, or there might be something beyond that. I don't know, but the synergy wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into details, but there was like interpersonal problems, like the team did not get on on a personal level, and work relationships just got to the point where essentially, you know, like people had to go because people were refusing to work together, or not refusing, but like functionally, it's like at this point we might as well just cut off the deadwood, try something new, because
and that happens with anything as well. Like,
yeah,
you know,
well, it seems to happen
what.
with Fnatic's main roster like every year, doesn't it? So.
No comment.
All right, cool. So, yeah, and as Tom just said there, obviously you spent loads of time with Shikari. Was on two different teams before. Now on NVision again. Was there like a plan to try and get a team together again, or did it just kind of happen naturally?
I don't think Shikari was aiming to play this split, or I think he did trial for some teams, but I don't think he was willing to play without a good offer, or a team that he felt comfortable on. I honestly wasn't looking to do this. I had 3 or 4 really, really good offers, honestly, in other ELLs. But the rule change has kind of scuffed me in this regard, that they did to residency. Because now, even if I'm in a gaming house environment, I count as an import to any league that's not UK. And XL already have Kasing, who they have for, like, you know, branding, and he's probably the only UK support I can't reasonably definitively say I'm better than. So it doesn't really make sense for them to swap Kasing for me. And then Fnatic have obviously just fired me like 3 months ago. I mean, actually, Fnatic was one of my potential offers, which I think just shows, like, at the end of the day, how valuable a resident player is that they need 3 UK players, and they're like, well, we need a top and we need a support, and we've got Shikari and Prosfair, you know, like, are the two obvious people to ask. So, yeah, like, just the fact that, like, I could get kicked off a team and then, like, less than 3 months later they're contacting me to sign me again is
flattering.
Must have felt good though.
I mean, it's esports in a nutshell, right? But like, the fact that both academy teams in the UK have individual reasons not to sign me, and then in every other region it's become, because no one wants to import support, right? If you're importing from another region, you want carries. So all my other offers just kind of fell through due to a bad player in the you know, like, they didn't want to support that was UK, or they have you know, just another support came along that's like really high level. Like, I'm not going to name names or teams, but like, there's some really high level, like, German and Spanish teams that contacted me. I got told by one of the teams I trial for, like, pretty much, you're better than the guy who we've got, but he's a resident of our country, so that, like, you weren't better by enough. So I wasn't looking out to rebuild this team, but pretty much all my offers fell through. And again, as I've said, like, I am a UK resident, and I'm one of the best supports in the UK. So to me, at least, it makes sense to return to the scene I know, where I actually have, like, a lot of value and can kind of build a team again. Because it's, I don't know if you know, but I kind of harp on about this. I talk about this a lot with, like, people who know me, so they'll be, like, rolling their eyes. But for Nerd Rage, the team, and for ZenX, I pretty much built the roster. I was, like, coach, manager, roster builder. And then back then you could obviously qualify for the league just by making the roster and getting an org, and, you know, you would qualify through the qualifiers. So I'm a big advocate for, if you're a player and you feel like you're being undervalued by orgs, get some other players that are in a similar situation, make your team, get the players together, and then go to reach out to the orgs and say, like, look, we've got this UK core that wants to play together, we're strong, and you know, we're willing to work with you. So that's kind of how this team came about. Is it's like, Yusa, me, Shikari, Nolty were all kind of in situations where, you know, me and Shikari I had my offers fall through. I didn't really know what Shikari was doing. Nolte and Yusha are obviously big prospects in the UK. It's like I've got no good offers, and if I want to play in the UK, I'm not gonna just roll the dice on that. An org picks up a good roster. Like I'm gonna go out and get the players I think are good, and then go to the org and say, look, like, me, Shikari, Nolte, Yusa, we're willing to play for you. Yeah.
Was that like so that was like the major thing, is that if you are going to do this, you want to have players who you kind of want to play around, essentially, at this point?
Yeah, I didn't want to play it in the UK unless I was convinced we could actually win and go to E-Masters. Obviously, we're not like overwhelming favourites. There's Fnatic and XL strong rosters. But I think we have a shot. And one second. I'm busy. Sorry. So yeah, like obviously I wasn't gonna make this roster if I didn't think we were gonna have a chance to come first and go to E-Masters. And I think just putting your faith in the org, like, oh, I just hope they sign the players around me that is going to build a team that's worthwhile, it's not really my way of doing things. Like, I very much like to take control of as many things as I can do. It's kind of like the reason I became a shot caller. Why wait to get a 6-shot shot caller on your team when you can fill that role yourself? So that's kind of the thinking behind it.
And it was a ridiculous squad. It is I did not expect this squad to come, especially when everything came through. I was like, there are a couple good players who haven't got a roster yet, and then suddenly, because I was expecting perhaps like you, I didn't know about Chicago, but definitely like you. So I thought maybe he was going to go to like another ERL because nobody else had picked him up. I was sure that like a Fnatic or an XL were going to pick someone like him up. But to pick this, I think it's a great 5-man roster just in general.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I always kind of wonder with these.
I'm still listening. Sorry, there's a dog in my room.
That's alright.
It's somehow correct its way in. Okay. He somehow walked in and closed the door on himself, which is really.
They can open the door, they can't close it. Or close it, but can't open it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, with these kind of rosters, I guess you could kind of say it's as close to like a UK super team as you're going to get.
I'd say Spring Fnatic last year was kind of like the epitome. Like
that was something else. Yeah.
Yeah, like Dan, me, Matty, and Shikari is like, because obviously there's no UK mids. Powerhouse UK mid, but Cameron's out there. He's holding the flag for the UK mids. But
yeah, well, because I was kind of looking through. I was thinking, did Chibs not get a team either? But then he's Fnatic's sub, I think now, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's the support for him now.
Yeah, we're like NA with NA mids, which is getting imports from other ERLs. But yeah, I was going to say, like, I always kind of wonder these kind of teams that are like so stacked where it usually starts, because good players, you imagine they don't want to go to a team unless they know they're playing with other good players. So that does
it's how it works when orgs are building a roster anyway, because usually they'll say like you'll say like, well, what players are you looking at, and it's like, well, here are the players that we would ideally get.
Yeah. And
players can do the thing where it's like, I'm not willing to commit yet, but exactly, maybe come back to me, and it's like usually the org will get one, will sign one of them, and then other good players kind of fall in line, because especially in the UK, usually like 3 or 4 teams will be trialing like pretty much the same set of players, and these players will be talking to each other, and there'll be like groups of them who kind of want to play together. So usually one will sign, or they'll be speaking to each other privately, like, oh, we've got an offer from this guy, we've both got offers from these 3, which one do you want to go for? If 2 players want to play together, that stuff's kind of common. Is that usually there's like the good players will speak to each other, and the orgs kind of will get one, and then everyone else kind of goes, oh, if they've got this, the support will be like, if they've got this AD, I'll play for them. So then the support signs, then the other players like, oh, they've got this good bot lane. So maybe you can start getting solo lane, jungle, stuff like that. This way it was kind of like from both ends, because I very much have an idea as a player, like I want to. But I'm very much more like I speak to the players directly, like let's get a roster, let's speak to orgs, like let's make this not just like subtle behind the scenes, like let's just straight up do this in a. We all want to play together, like let's just say it to the org out front. Like I don't see any harm in that. If you built a strong call, like the org should be on board.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've done their job for them.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't need a GM. You've done it. So you kind of said like you was with this kind of group of players that are all in a similar sort of situation. I guess kind of fortunate that they're all good players as well.
Yeah.
So how have you found it kind of laning with Yusa? Because obviously you've had last last season you were with Xmati, one of the better UK ADs. Probably the same again with USA. So where do you think you guys kind of rank up against the other bot lanes?
I still had to say, honestly, I'm not. I'll just say I'm not worried about playing Xmati or Bravado or Kasing and Deadly. Like, these are good players in every role, but I think on our best day we can beat them, and I think if we play badly, we'll lose to them, and if we play well, we'll beat them. So I'm not really worried about them. I just think we'll see how it goes. Like, I have no real read on Kasing's level. I'd say like last split I played about as well as him. I kind of had the better team, so maybe you'd hand it to him, because I'd say there was about as many games where I outplayed him as he outplayed me, or where I had better performances than him. So I'd maybe give an edge to him, just because he's also got an experience advantage. But I personally feel like I've leveled up a lot in career, so if I play to my best now, I feel like I should beat his best. But there's no telling, has he gone there? He's now playing with Deadly, who I know he's been doing with for like years, so maybe like they have more synergy, maybe he's more invested, There's so many factors that can affect a player's level. Like, I have no worries that if I play my best, I should be better than Kasing and Bravado. And I know I've seen Yus outperform Matty before, and I think Matty's way better than Deadly. So I think if Yus performs his best, he can outperform both of them. So I'm not worried, but also it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's something we need to
And I guess then you're
seriously contend with.
Maybe not worried about any other bot lanes from the non-academy teams.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, there's some good bot lanes though. Like, they're not pushovers either.
Mm-hmm.
The one question which I want to know really is, did you have much say in Adept joining, or was that someone who you wanted to play with essentially anyway in the mid lane?
Well,
or was that more of an old decision?
We kind of locked down the UK core.
Mm-hmm.
And the org, and we were sort of trialing. I mean, it was kind of a joint thing. Like, we were trialing mids, just like the standard way. It was kind of like it was kind of like whatever. Like, they suggested some players. Like, we had some players in mind. Just ended up being that we chose Adept. That's kind of how it went.
Because I'm just really interested, because obviously I saw him a little bit with Penguins. And he seemed like a pretty good player then, so it's just interesting to see quite a lot of these players from, mainly like Penguins and the German leagues, kind of like come over to the UK and stuff like that, and just see how they kind of adapt with teams around them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like I said before about the ERL rule changes. These imports are... I mean, if you look at the Spanish scene, I think the level's degraded a lot, because there's only so many good Spanish players, right? So if you only got 6 good Spanish players, you're only really going to make 2 rosters that have got strong Spanish cores that can entice good imports in. And then once you start getting down to once you have to have these rookies, because obviously the league was so full of imports before, the amount of new Spanish rookies that have kind of got no competitive experience have to fill it in. And at that point, these teams are kind of offering these imports like, well, you're no longer like one of the good players on a team of good players. You're like the best player that's kind of carrying these players, and it makes more sense to go somewhere else when you're like these when you're one of these imports, like Adept. He's Swedish, so he wouldn't count as like a Spanish player, so he'd kind of probably be on one of these mid-table teams who have like some players that are kind of flips, or they're untested, or I just think it makes more sense for him to come to like a place where he's with a more experienced roster.
What is that change? I didn't think I saw that. So does it not count like
if you have lived in the country for 3 of the last 5 years, then you count as a resident.
Right.
Or if you've played for 3 of the last 4 splits, the majority of the games, you also count. But you have to like declare it. So like say I played like the last 4 splits in Spain, I could be a Spanish resident, but I could also just go back and claim my UK one. But once you've claimed it, it's fixed, and then the process to change it is a lot harder. So it becomes more like Europe, Korea, and America. Like you have to kind of be there. Like Bjergsen was European, but he's played most of his split in NA. But if he comes back to EU, even though he's European, it's hard to change it back. So once you've set yours, it kind of becomes like that. So that's the kind of way it works. Doesn't really matter where, you can't just gaming house 5 imports. It doesn't look like that anymore.
Was it the start of spring last year, like XL UK with 0 UK players, something like that?
Yeah.
So you can't.
Inax kind of counts, but yeah, he's Bulgarian. Like, he has lived in UK most of his life, so yeah.
All right, cool. In that case, you kind of touched on it a bit. Wanted to move on to just kind of where you think NVision rank as a whole. You did say kind of aiming for one of those EU Masters places, and I think that's kind of where I think most people would probably put you as kind of the only, on paper, you'd think probably the only main challenger for those academies. Do you think there's anyone else that could be up there with you, or do you think there's sort of anyone, XL or Fnatic in particular, that are kind of there for the taking?
I'd say it really depends, honestly. Like, there's so many factors, again, with like how players change, that it's really hard to nail down. I think there's a lot of rosters that have a very high, including the academy teams. I think both academy teams to split have a very high variance of what their peak can look like and what their troughs can look like. And I think it's the same with a lot of these rosters as well, like these newer rosters. Like, I think Eminem's roster really depends on. I haven't seen much of Epheus, but I've heard some pretty good things. And Achu has at times shown, like even last split, that when he's playing his best, he can play really well. And then they've also got, like Soften. They've got Mumus, who's like a really solid player. Like you could argue one of the best tops in the league, no doubt. But then they have Soften Kemra, who are like this UK duo mid jungle, right? And it's like UK mid's kind of a risky proposition when it's not someone you know, and there's all the meme about there's no UK mids like really ever playing in the UK league. So I could see that duo, like if they have a good coaching system, or if they just are players that are on the up, this is their split to kind of like, because most players do, they have that split where they go from being like a kind of, like they're in the scene and they're okay, but they're not great, to kind of being at the top of their game. This team could be really good if those two things go for us. I think we ourselves, if we can kind of give Yusa, Nulti, and Adept the experience, like with me and Shikari and Daruk can give them the experience that we have from like a higher level, and the team can really mesh. Yusa can kind of take that step from where he is now to maybe like the ex-Matty level, like the top UK level. Like, not that he can't have games like that, but just like the consistency and the overall experience level. Same for Nulti. Like, I think Nulti showed some signs of like on Eminem, he had some really good performances, but then was quite inconsistent. If he can make that his main level, and if we can mesh as a team, I think our max level is really high. Also, could be none of these things happen, and the team kind of is a dud, and we come like third, fourth. Same with the academy,
like Barrage and stuff. Then, because that was what it was last season with Barrage, wasn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, and it's like
brilliant squad. But yeah.
And I look at Fnatic and XL, and I see in my opinion, big glaring holes in the rosters. But like my main concern for XL is like Sendo and Taxa over the last 2 years haven't performed very well on average, but in summer last year they both actually had pretty good splits.
Especially Sendo. I thought Sendo proved a lot of people wrong in summer.
Yeah, so it's like, from my opinion, like I've seen Sendo essentially be like, I think almost dead weight on XL for 18 months, and then he had a really good 6 months, and so did Taxa. So are they going to continue that form because it's recent, or are they going to go back to not like how is Kasing going to play? Because like I hear a lot of things back, like, oh, he doesn't care, he's unmotivated, he's playing an academy, of course he doesn't, he used to be one of the best spots in the EU. This is all probably like just complete like hearsay. Like, I have no idea like if the guy is motivated, if he has good connection with Deadly. Like, this guy he used to be one of, like, in my opinion, he was like top 2 support in the EU, one of the best supports in the West. So like, he's got more experience than me. Like, I think this guy can play really well. It's really up in the air for like almost every roster. I think there are honestly very few rosters that don't have anything going for them. Like I even look at like I think it was Phelan's bot lane, where like on a load of tier lists they will put like the bottom. I think that's really like, I think they're being sold short. Like, I think I would personally put like Jack Spectra like 4th, like top 4 out of ADs, and everyone was putting him 8th on like a Zviz talk show the other day. And like, yeah, I think he could, and he's new to competitive. I think this guy could have a really good split. Like, I think he's a pretty good player. So there's no roster where I look and I say like all 5 of these players are like low tier UK players, like they're not going to achieve anything. I look at every roster and I see like this guy could have a really good split. You know, like this guy could have a really bad split. He could turn it around. He could regress. Like this, it's really up in the air. So I think it's gonna be an exciting split. Like I think, yeah.
And with Bertree especially, I believe wasn't he rookie of the split last season?
Yeah, Bertree's a really good up and coming UK talent. Like probably one of the best up and comers. Like in the last 6 months, maybe even longer. Like maybe since like the likes of Usain Ulti, Chibs. Yeah, like probably since Chibs, I think Bertree's like the most promising rookie. So yeah, I don't think any of these rosters are dead rosters. Like I think the rankings between. I think the bottom rankings are very, very up in the air. I think we are the best. Personally, I think we have the best chance to beat the academy teams. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of these other teams did it. It's really high variance. Like I think it's quite unique because for UK, I think usually you have 2 rosters that people are like, okay, these are going to be battling out first, and then you kind of have 3 or 4 in the middle, and then there's usually some at the bottom where it's like these are kind of dead rosters. So quite exciting, I think, because there's a lot of parity in the league.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like obviously the last 2 splits do, you have to take into account that, but it's a completely new system now. It's a league system. It's no longer like the tournament tree. There was times when Enclave were playing like the top 2 for like 3 weeks, for 3 weeks, where some teams were playing none. So now you're actually going to get a full like kind of like power shift of which ones are actually going to be good against each other consistently as well. So the fact that they've now gone into a traditional format can really show which team is the best and which team is, well, arguably not as good or the worst.
Double round robin's a very good system for league as well because you get like the one blue side game, the one red side game. I'd say arguably single round robin with best of 2 is better because you play both sides on the same patch.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, you can play the same person on opposite sides and you get like the side advantage both times depending on the patch. But realistically, this is like one of the fairest ways to do it, I'd say. I really like the format. Like double round robin, there's really nothing to complain about. It's like I think the best format UK's had since like 2017. So,
what was it like with the being in the tower? Were you not a fan, or did you think it was? I guess
I think
being
it was.
Fnatic, it doesn't matter that much. I guess you should kind of win most of your matches anyway.
I liked it because like playing playing 3 competitive games in one day is fun. Like, and especially when usually how it would work is you'd play like mid tier team, high tier team, like XL. Yeah. That was or like Diabolus in the first split, but like that was fun because you kind of essentially had to like play 3 matches you actually could lose in kind of ascending difficulty order, and if you're playing well as a team on that day, winning 3 games and playing well feels good, like it's enjoyable. But I also am aware there were some teams that played XL and us like 4 weeks in a row, and that can't feel good. Like there are teams that got to play like 8 games, 7 games in the whole split, and we got to play like 23 games.
I think it's quite top heavy. I think that's what the thing with the tower format is that if you're like a middle tier team, it kind of just depends on who you're facing that week. Depends on if you're going to get 3 points or 1 point.
And if you start off on a bit of a downer, you lose your first match like 1 or 2 weeks in a row. There's literally no way to get momentum. You play 1 match and then you lose, and that's it for the week. You got to try and work out. I can't imagine trying to work out what your problems are and what you need to work on from getting 1 match a week. Must be. Yeah,
the best thing I'd say about the tower format was it made every game enjoyable to watch. No matter which 2 teams were playing, even in the first round, it was fun to watch because you could essentially see like even if it's Fnatic or XL versus like the lowest rated team, it's like okay, like how are they playing this week? How is the chances looking to like actually claim the tower? The way it was an upset, like the points differential is really high, like in Impact in the first and second round. So I like that. It made me actually really enjoy watching every match, which I've never ever done in the UK. Like no matter how long I've played here, there's always been matches where it's like this outcome really doesn't matter. Whereas with the tower, at least every game, the outcome and even how well like it was executed actually really does matter because there's another game right after. You're kind of seeing. Form is kind of like a big deal in it, so that was like the one positive of the tower format. But I think it, in terms of competitive integrity, it was really pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it's one of those as a viewer kind of can be more interesting. They're always actually playing for something. There's like shouldn't be any like useless matches, but then as
even in the last week, like a team could just win the whole thing and they're in playoffs,
Yeah.
But then like I can't imagine playing in that is. It sounds crap. Because I think when we had Tim Kuro, the Fnatic coach on. I think it was the last episode we did, and he was saying it was something about like the side selection as well. So you wouldn't even get like even matches on red and blue side as well, like all weirdness like that.
Yeah, you didn't get to pick your sides, I don't think, at all. Yeah, it was quite weird.
Well, I don't know. It might be something like a team with more points always got to choose a side or something. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yandro will admit it, so I don't remember, but yeah, like. Yeah,
he wasn't the fan of it anyway. We had a bit of a
no, I don't think anyone, because it feels bad for the lower teams. Like you play like one of the top teams like 3 weeks in a row, or the same team. I think we played like Darkspawn 3 out of the first 4 weeks. And like if they complain on Twitter, like everyone's just gonna say like, "Oh, you're whining, you're bad." It's like quite legitimately 3 of the like 7 chances to get points are like made really randomly hard when they should in a first system only place 1.
Yeah.
Like it's.
It's the only kind of downside maybe with a round robin is when you get some of the games like, especially like the lower teams. Maybe once this teams that can't really make it to playoffs and the games don't really mean that much. Maybe people aren't going to be that fussed about watching it, but. I think like competitive integrity is much better, I think. And
I think at the end of the day, like the tournaments for the players, like they should have the chance to kind of like grow and play the matches like fairly, so that they can actually have a chance to enjoy playing competitive. Like I know. I mean, I'd say it's a job, but actually for most people in the UK, it's not like a full-time job. It doesn't pay that much. So at the end of the day, it's just kind of like a semi-pro amateur level, and I think just having it be an unfun system to play in is like, you're never going to get a good tournament if the players aren't having a good time at the end of the day. No one's going to watch if no one's enjoying being in the tournament.
And quite a lot of it as well is development as well with ERL. So by having more games, you're developing a lot more players and giving them more chances to kind of get started.
Or a fairer spread of games, because like we played like 23 games. We don't need those.
Yeah.
We scrim like 30 games a week, right? Like it's the people who are like they're still at uni, they're half time, they've got jobs. Like it's these people who need like the actual games and the experience and the exposure as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Is there? I don't know. From like a player standpoint, there'd be much difference. But have you noticed anything sort of behind the scenes change from? Because it's not LVP running anymore, is it? DreamHack.
It's DreamHack, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not really.
The one thing I can't notice, it doesn't seem like they're pushing it as much. I don't know if there would be like much of a difference in resources or anything.
I mean, it just all seemed a bit last minute to me publicly. Like I imagine like. I mean, LVP was supposed to be doing it for 2 years, so I imagine something happened that wasn't supposed to be happening. Like clearly something kicked off between Riot and LVP, right? Like I doubt it was like a mutual understanding to leave, or they wouldn't have probably like.
They had another year, didn't they? I think it was, they cut it short. The one thing which I do want to say about the DreamHack thing, which it's quite annoying. I don't like the fact that the finals is not in England. Considering it's for the UKLC, but again, it might be because it's last minute.
That's why I think it's last minute. Like they clearly haven't even had the time to like get funds together for like a premises or booking an event. I mean, better than LVP Spring where they didn't even have a final.
yeah, well, exactly. But it's like I don't mind.
That should be a number one. Like
a lot of it is offline anyway, but it's mainly when online anyway. But in terms of like just for a final, just maybe maybe ask XL. Maybe I don't know. There could have been something.
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe they didn't need to because they've got their own and like it's flying people out. Like I quite enjoyed when it was in Barcelona when LVP ran it actually in 2018 summer. That was like one of my favorite finals actually. Apart from like the first one I won in Leicester. So I'm not completely against it being elsewhere. Like it's a bit weird because like every other ERL like you play in the ERL's like country, but it's not a deal breaker for me, but yeah, I just think it was clearly like a bit clearly something's gone on, and I think like DreamHack have stood in to fill a gap at the last minute, so I'm not particularly fussed criticising them.
And at least we've got a platform still to show it as well, if it was what it seems like last minute.
Yeah.
And it's good they've been able to, they haven't had to like rebrand it or anything at least it's still UKLC and it's not just like
I think Riot like now that Riot have taken over the ERLs, Riot owns the thing, and then they license out the rights to do it to the like they probably like designed the logo and the thing with LVP, but then probably gave it to them. Like I could be I'm making that clear, like I don't know, but that's just what I would guess, knowing that Riot are like in on it now.
And you've also got to think as well that Riot obviously have prioritised the UK as one of like the big leagues, and this isn't a thing which wasn't a last minute decision. This would have probably been done while the UKLC was being developed. So they probably would have had a lot more say and a lot more sway in terms of making these the premier ERLs, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. We may as well move on then. What I wanted to do at the end is just give our predictions for the first week as well. I imagine some of yours might be a bit biased because you're not going to. Don't you tip yourselves to lose to Excel? But
I don't know what figures, but like, yeah. We'll see.
All right, so day one on Tuesday, we've got Fnatic versus Enclave. I'd imagine that's a Fnatic.
That's Fnatic for me, yeah.
Tom?
Yeah, right. I really want a shock, but I look at Fnatic, and we haven't really talked about Enclave as much, and there's probably a reason for why we haven't talked about them as much. Because I just think Fnatic's got a great side, and I think when you still got MagiFelix, and there's this interesting thing with Chibs being a support. Is he just going to be a support just to help MagiFelix, or is he actually going to play some games eventually? I'm a bit
substitute. You mean?
Yeah, substitute. Sorry, not support. But it's just one of those where are they gonna play Chibs? But even if they do play Chibs, I think they'll.
I'll be honest. I'll be brutally honest here. I'm pretty sure Chibs is just he's probably just getting paid like a amount just in case like someone.
Just a training plan.
I think Riot literally forced the LEC teams to have a sub on their academy rosters, so they literally needed someone, and they probably just paid Chibs like an amount, and he can probably watch scrims if he wants to, but I doubt he'd even be obliged. Like my impression of playing on two academy teams is you're kind of like the third wheel. You kind of get left your own devices. You're not that important, so I don't had any plans to actually use Chibs, barring like an outright emergency or anything like that. That's what I would guess, but they could prove me wrong.
And the only thing I can say about with Enclave is I'm interested to see how only Angel does, because I did quite like him on, I think it was M&M last split. I thought he was pretty decent, and it'll be interesting to see how he comes up against Pride, essentially, to see if there is. It's kind of my first time really going to be seeing how Pride does against what was a UKLC top laner last split, and just kind of assess that, which would be interesting.
I mean, that's my issue with why I'm voting this for Fnatic, because I'd say the two question marks are Pride and Bravado on the Fnatic roster. I think Dan honestly just belongs in LEC. I think it's a joke that this guy isn't in LEC already. Felix has his issues as a player, but is insanely good. You saw, he played in LEC, he subbed in a game, and he was the non-weak link while Fnatic was inting around him. The guy has real talent.
Well, did you see he was? So MagiFelix was 1,700 LP or something after the first week.
No. He only got 1,700 a week ago. It was 3 weeks, but yeah, it's pretty insane.
He was miles ahead of anyone else. Mad.
Yeah, I mean the guy plays a lot of solo queue. But yeah, I have no problems with Dan and Felix and Matty. Honestly, they could also have been for an LEC game and look fine. Bravado, honestly, his last year on Schalke was really hit or miss. I've thought the guy's been really good in solo queue for over a year now. Everyone kind of knows he's an up and coming talent, but he's kind of yet to click and hit his form at the level that I think people expect him to reach. And Pride honestly just thinks it's a tier lower than the rest of the players. So those are the 2 weak points for me. But then I look at Angel, and Angel is okay. I describe Angel as an okay top laner. He's the level above mediocre for me. He's not bad. He doesn't have the same carry performance Curb can have. And
or like a Mummus or Shikari. There's a clear top three, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I said there's just a clear top two. I think it's Mummus and Shikari, and then there's a gap. But yeah, that's my issue with Angel. It's he's a carry top laner who's not really the kind of player that can take over the game on his own. So and also I think Heathen is just probably one of the weak supports. So I think Bravado outclasses him despite what I said. Bravado is still good. I still think he's one of the top supports in the top D spots in the league. So my issue with the question marks I have on Fnatic are how are the two new players going to do. I don't think that will be bought. So yeah, I'd say Fnatic easily win this game.
I think it's a good game for them to have as well. Like, it's a good team. It would have been a bit different if they were going up against like an XL or NVision or something like that. But I think it's quite a good team for Fnatic to have kind of got first game. Really, I thought.
Yeah, I think honestly, if Fnatic played like us or XL first game, that would be like a real coin flip because it's like you've not seen champion priorities. You don't know how the other team are scrimming. It's really like that's like the biggest flip. Like, why it's like I won't get into it because like we'll probably talk about it in a second. But like us versus XL. It's kind of funny it's the first game because it can be entirely decided in draft. It's a bit funny getting them the first game, like a competitive game, because it's a bit of a flip. But I think, yeah, it's nice to warm up getting like a kind of easy first game in the league.
Cool. The next one was Phelan against Barrage. I've gone for Barrage, but then I think with both of them, because there is so many changes and there are sort of entirely new rosters. It's hard to tell with that kind of thing with the first week until you've seen them play. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest. I just kind of went for Barrage. I don't know, kind of a coin flip, really. What do you guys think?
I honestly don't know if I can even have an opinion that's credible. Like, I have no idea about this Sawyer guy, or Fleurs, or Sybil. So 3 of the players I've actually never seen play. I've had an opinion on both of the supports. I have an opinion on both of the ADs. I think both bot lanes are relatively even. Maybe I'd give it a small advantage to Phelan, honestly. But I'm not even sure about that. Like, I feel like the bot lanes are pretty even. I think the mid lanes are not a million miles apart either. I know Dragain is pretty good. I've heard good things about Ericsson, but not really seen him play. But from what I've heard, he should be about the same level. And then I can't rate the top side. So I'll just say I expect it to be a close game. To be honest, it could go either way.
I'm probably going to go for Phelan. Again, I think it's the very same. I've looked at both these rosters, and when I was doing I've got all the rosters here and kind of a little bit of information. Barrage and Phelan were the 2 which I really needed to try and find out who some of these players were. With Barrage, I don't know about Flares at all, but I know he went from Radiance. But that's like an NA amateur team.
It's like high. It's like Cloud9 high, isn't it? Yeah.
So that's a really odd one, really. You don't see NA talent coming into the UK scene that often, apart from I think I saw Mans, obviously his coach and stuff. And then one from the OPL, and then Ericsson was from Nordvin. Is he on loan? It's that's one of those weird ones where it's like you bring someone from loan. But I think that Bear Tree. The only thing I can go off really is the players which I know, and I just think that Bear Trees could be a very, very good top laner, and then you look at the other players around them, and I think that they could be decent. And obviously you've got Hado for Barrage as well, and Hado was great with Diabolus, and then went with Penguins. And to be fair, I actually thought Penguins did okay for. I think they just made it 7th. Just missed playoffs in the Spanish league. So that's actually, I thought, quite a good achievement really for what was happening. So it is a bit of a coin flip, but I'm just going to go for Phelan because I thought, well, we'll go for something different as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one is the probably should be the most interesting match of the week, I think. Not just because you're here, Prosfair. I'm not just saying that, but
I think that's most people's.
Yeah, we've got NVision against XL. I'm sorry, I have gone with XL. But the reason I'll say that is because I think they should have, out of basically any team, they're the ones that should have the least trouble gelling. It's 4 out of 5 of the players they had last year anyway. So they shouldn't need those first couple of weeks, I don't think, to kind of get going. So yeah, sorry.
No, I think it's a fair statement, honestly. If I'm being truthful, I already said, I think if we play our best, we should win, and if we don't play our best, we should probably lose. I agree with your assessment. XL probably should be coming into it being decent, and being realistic, I'm not particularly bothered by the outcome of this match as long as I see that we play to our strengths and the level we've developed so far. If I look at our scrims from this week and even 2 weeks ago, the progress we've made is insane. So as long as we power towards the end of the split, I'm fine. Being honest, I probably vote for XL, just other than that. I feel like if I say XL, it's kind of, it's what am I doing? So I'll just say
win now. This is win-win though.
Yeah,
Because
I'll say we win.
if you win, that's fine. Yeah, if you win, then you've just proven yourself wrong. You're really good, and you feel as well. You're right, So
Honestly, I get kind of nervous doing really well at the start of the split. From past experience, it usually ends up biting you in playoffs because you're doing your thing, and everyone's trying to beat you, watching you. And then you cruise through the split, and then playoffs come, and everyone's like boot camping really hard, working really hard, just trying to take down you, prepping drafts for you. And they're like, well, we'll just continue doing what we're doing. It's working, and then. You've had like a 9% win record over the whole split, and then boom, 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 you lose like 2 best threes. You're like, wait, what happened? We came fourth. What happened? We were first. That's my experience with doing really well in the regular split and then getting playoffs. So I think as long as this team makes it to playoffs, which we like top 4, we really should. Mm-hmm. I'm happy as long as we're making constant progression to the split. So yeah, I'm not gonna be putting too much emphasis on this game, but yeah, at least at the very least, it's entertaining, and I'm interested to see where we stand because it's so hard to get a read. Because you look at the roster, you see the names, but again, individual players can have such a big variance. Things change a lot in the off season, and especially for me, like I haven't played comp in quite a while now. I didn't get to play. I did U-Masters last year, despite essentially qualifying for both, and I feel like I've improved a lot in Korea, but especially I get to play against Kasing, who I was, I think, fairly evenly matched with, if I'd say a little bit worse than last year. But I feel like I've improved a lot. If I play against him and I feel like I'm really in control and I'm ahead of him and I feel like all of his moves are kind of predictable and I'm a step ahead, then it's quite nice for me, because even if I lose, I can feel like, yeah, like that was a worthwhile time investment. I can see my progress. So that's more what I'm looking for from that match, is as long as I can showcase what I've learned, I'll be happy. Like if I go and I just int and I go like 0-6, I'll be really upset. I'll be incredibly mad.
Well, I'm actually going to go for NVision, right? So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here, because I look at, and obviously I don't know anything about scrims and everything. Everything's like that. I go in or anything, but I don't think there should be too much of an issue. Obviously, because you've got you and Shikari, obviously, who have duoed together for a long time, and then you've also got Nolty and Yusa, who have played with each other for at least half a split in M&M, and then you've got Adept in the middle, and that's one of those. But I just think like lane by lane, a lot of the time, I think NVision's roster lane by lane is a little bit better than Excel's, and a lot of people put Excel's, but I would put Shikari over Sendo. Shikari finished second in the summer top, best second best top in summer, despite not even playing all of summer, and so that shows you how highly a lot of people rated him anyway.
I mean, the guy's won UK 4 times. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Excel hasn't won since they had Shikari. The only time Excel won UK, they had Shikari. They got rid of him.
Exactly.
It's really good for. I'll be honest. This matchup is really good for storylines. Like, Excel haven't won since they had Shikari and Daruk as their head coach. The only split they won, Daruk as head coach, Shikari was top. They've got rid of them. Now they're on NVision. Excel obviously like a kind of. I've seen a lot of people putting them as favourites to win this split. So
yeah, a lot of people are saying that they are the best side, and I can see them being a top side, but genuinely, depending on obviously synergy and how it actually goes in game, like I actually think that NVision has a better roster, and the only thing which could I think affect this game would be the synergy of both sides. But at the end of the day, sometimes with it being the first game and with it being like a new patch and a brand new jungle system and everything anyway, a lot of it can just be how you have adapted to that anyway. And so you could have 5 brand new players and the adapts would be great.
My worry with these games is all 4 are going to be like whoever wins like the first 5 to 10 minutes. Like if one side just gets like a good invade off or wins one lane, the games are just going to be very like blowout-y off that lane, because people haven't played any comp on this patch and it's going to get to them like, oh, we've entered early. So that's my worry, is like whichever, like if we just get a good playoff, we might just beat Excel but not really feel like we actually had a challenge. And if we fall behind early, I feel like the mood might get to us and it's like, like this game's not that important anyway. Like we're in it for the long haul. So
so a lot of these players, like playing actually competitively, have not played on this, on the Summoner's Rift. Like it's a completely different Summoner's Rift, and the difference between playing it in scrims than playing it, in solo queue, than there is actually playing it on stage, essentially. So it's going to be very interesting to see. There could be even some players who have gone and missed, who we've underrated, but then actually on this actual Summoner's Rift, they're great around it, and they've adapted to it well. And it would just be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm going to give you a bit of credit. I'm going to say NVision because I felt a bit bad.
I appreciate that. But I went for us in the end. But my heart says, my heart says we're going to win. But logically, I have to say there are more reasons to vote for Excel, in my opinion, at least in this game, than us.
Kind of say that I'm an NVision fan because they are from Preston and I'm from Preston. Didn't even realise that until today. So yeah, so I was like, I only found that out today, and I was like, okay, no, definitely, NVision are going to win the split. That's it.
Yeah, quite the northwestern roster.
Well, I'm not that far from Twickenham, but then if I say Excel, it's like glory hunting a bit, isn't it? So I'll stay neutral.
Nice.
All right, then the last game on Tuesday is M&M against Demise. I think it's another one. It's entirely new side, so it's just kind of, I think, depends on how they gel. I went for Demise just because I like their top side a lot. I think that'll be an interesting watch in any case in that match. The Kerberos and Monkeys against Mumus and Soft. Yeah, I went for Demise, but I thought it was another one that I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong at all.
See, I'm going to go for M&M because I actually really like this M&M squad. And I think if there was like a top four, I think they would definitely be fourth. I think Chimera gets a lot of flack, but I think that he actually will benefit from the fact that he's got Soft and Achu, and he's played with them with Phelan previously anyway. And I just think Mumus is brilliant. Like, I am actually surprised that Mumus isn't in, arguably, you could say like a really good top side in an ERL, essentially. The guy, I believe, got promoted to the CB Law before and didn't even play a game in the CB Law. Which is really unfortunate. You've actually got your team promoted through, I believe it was the promotion with Vivo Cade or something like that, or at least help them in that promotion push, and then you've actually not been able to play there. But the guy's really, really good, and he was really good with M&M, and he was really good, I thought, in Brazil, and then he's come back to M&M, maybe because of loyalty or something, I don't know. And I just think they're really, really, they're the underdogs, I think, of this entire split.
Yeah. Despite agreeing with what you just said, I'm going to go with Demise. I think Mumus is the best carry style top laner in the UK. I think him and Chikari are the best two tops. And yeah, I think Chikari can play carry style. I've played with him a long time. I think he's mechanically a really good player on carries. But again, he's that kind of dual style. He can carry, he can play tanks, usually facilitates what role the team needs him to. Mumus is very much one of these players who, he makes the game around him, and he plays carries. And just for an outright carry player, I think Mumus is the best. The issue I have is Curb is one of these players with really high highs and really low lows. And I just get the feeling on the first game where you don't see champion pulls and stuff like this. I think Curb is gonna have an advantage, and I think Curb at his best can probably just have a good game against Mumus. So I think their main advantage in Mumus is going to be kind of negated, and I look across the board. I think Monkeys is kind of probably motivated, looking for his redemption split after a pretty poor performance on Barrage. He's kind of got a facilitating jungle style, and now that he's got Curb to play around, I think Kerberos and Monkeys are probably a better duo than Mumus and Soft, because Soft is kind of linked to Chimera, so more used to playing around mid, and I think if they can kind of snowball top, this game's pretty decided. On top of that, I think Zoran probably a bit better than Chimera, and then Dragadar Kalhira at Ephius. I'd probably give to a Ephius, but just not by a landslide. And bot lane matchups right now are kind of stale. Kind of hard to play aggressive in as long as the person getting counterpicked doesn't just int. So yeah, I'll say Demise because I trust Curb and Monkeys will do some good work on top side, and Curb will probably play some random champion that no one expects him to.
And Curb and Monkeys at Diablos were brilliant. Obviously what happened at Barrage hopefully isn't it is just a one and done kind of thing, and then he can hopefully get back to it. But it is one of those, and he is I thought when he was at Diablos, I thought he was very good, but then something just didn't click with Barrage. I mainly blame that with Barrage as a whole. Something just didn't work, but this is his chance then to say it wasn't that.
I think everyone at Barrage wants that to be one and done, to be honest.
I think that team was a very good stylistic fit for a lot of the players on there, especially Monkeys. I think he's got a very set style of jungling. I think he's similar to Taxa, actually. I think Taxa is underrated. I was the one who said like he hasn't had particularly good splits recently in a while, apart from last split. But I think he's honestly not... I think his style of jungling is not the kind of style of jungling that XL actually need. And so he looks worse than what his true level is, and I think that's kind of what happened to Monkey's last split is these junglers aren't being utilised properly on these teams, and they're very good at their one defined way of jungling, and a bit lackluster outside of it. That's kind of my read on Monkeys. I don't think he got worse. I don't think he played badly. It's just him playing the way he played on Diabolus didn't work for didn't work. So I'm gonna say it's demise.
Cool. And then day 2 starts with XL and M&M. I'm going to give XL the 2-0 for the first week. I don't think that's probably a huge surprise. Is it anyone going for M&M?
I want to, but no, I'm going to have to go with XL. I think, especially if we get a game later, I think they'll do better in the second game than they'll do in the first.
Yeah, I'll vote XL like I'm a realist at the end of the day. I almost voted for XL above ourselves, so I'm not going to pick anyone else.
And then after that is Demise against Fnatic. I've gone for Fnatic again. I think whenever I did predictions last year, it was kind of like it was just Fnatic and XL will beat anyone except for each other, and then it was just, I don't know, week by week changed a bit. I think this is almost the same, but I think NineTeeSix have the best chance of being the one to kind of take a few games off them every now and then. But other than NineTeeSix, I'd pretty much just, at least week 1 before seeing anything, I'd probably say XL and Fnatic would beat anyone. So yeah, for me, that's, I think, another one Fnatic to win against Demise. I couldn't see it another way without seeing anything, without seeing any kind of form or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose, like what I said earlier, like for me, like obviously I said Fnatic, like, you know, Pride and Bravado are the weak links for me, or like the question marks, not so much the weak links. Like just that I know Dan Felix and Mighty are really good, and from what I know of Pride, he's just not that good. Which isn't to say he's bad or that Bravado is bad. Like I said, I think Bravado is really good, just that not, you know, like to immediately join and be at that level is unlikely. And what I just said about Curb and Monkeys, if Pride is this weak link, which he may not end up being, I think Curb would have to literally like solo carry the game, because I look at like Dan, to me, is just like a much he plays a similar style of jungling to Monkeys, in that he's very like I'm gonna sound pretentious when I say like cerebral. Like Dan very much like controls the whole game, but Dan is really aggressive, like ruthlessly aggressive when he wants to be, and has a just much higher level understanding on a wider variety of styles, and it mechanically is just outclasses Monkeys. So Dan is almost like the kind of complete version of Monkeys for me, and unless Monkeys and Curb have like some insane synergy and Curb just completely stomps the game, I don't see them winning, so I'm gonna vote Fnatic as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you too. I'm gonna go Fnatic. I just think there's a bit of a synergy matchup and there's a skill matchup, I think, there. I think if it's not going to be top and jungle, I think when you've got MagiFelix there, and we all know how MagiFelix can play. He can just carry a game on his own, and he won MVP 2 times in a row for a reason, and obviously he's a solo queue god for a reason.
Felix is insane. He's insane at the game. It's insane. My vocabulary, or lack thereof, is insane as well, but yeah, Felix is insane.
Okay. Then after that, we've got Barrage against NineTeeSix. I've gone for you guys this time, Prosfair, so don't. Sorry about the last one, but I couldn't.
NineTeeSix?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Just gonna throw that out there.
I could not go NineTeeSix this time. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'm going NineTeeSix. I'm saying NineTeeSix too. I just don't know anything about this Barrage roster as a whole. Like, which maybe might need to look up on like the German and the Norwegian lead and everything like that now, because with all these imports which are coming through. But yeah, right now, obviously we don't know. I really, if there's one person I think could maybe shock me more than anything, it would be Cyball, because I don't I really don't know how he would do. I know he's in the OPL, but I believe it was like a bottom to mid-tier team in the OPL. So we're just got to see how he performs there anyway. But it's just an interesting pickup. It's an interesting roster as a whole. So
yeah, I'll go for us, obviously. I don't think that needed saying. I think we have better players across the board. I think we have better players in all 5 roles. I think we have a higher level of game understanding on our players. I honestly think, personally, I would say Jarik's the best coach in the league. I've been friends with the guy for ages. He coached me like years ago. But I look at his experience, and I think he's worked at a higher level as a main coach than anyone else in the league. He's worked with like some really good players. So I just personally say we have better players in every role, better game understanding from the players, and better infrastructure in coaching, which means if we go and lose now, it'll be really embarrassing and I'll look stupid. But the thing is, I also think we have a high variance and a really. I'm not going to say stuff from scrims too much, but I just think some teams you start and you have like a really good baseline level, like people just click. And it's like really easy to start working. I would say our team is not one of these. We have people from a range of different levels, and finding that mutual understanding of how to play the game has been a bit rough. So while we've worked on it, and I think we'll look a lot better than we did when we first started, we could have a really good game and look really clean and solid. However, I could also see us completely inting games away. Like that's not out of the question for any team. And now that I've said, we have better, we have better coach, we have better players, we have better knowledge. Like, I'm feeling like this looming shadow behind me.
You just got to pat it down a little bit, just in case you do lose, and then it's not as embarrassing.
I mean, he did better.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. Like we're gonna win. It's not gonna be close.
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
That's better.
Whatever. It's banter anyway. I don't really care.
And then, Tom, did you say?
I said NVision. Yeah.
All right, and then last but not least was Enclave against Phelan. I've gone for Phelan, but I probably sound stupid to keep saying it, but again, I don't think you can know too much week 1 without seeing them. And I think I'd seen more of Phelan's players than I have Enclave, so I thought I had a bit of a better understanding kind of where I'd expect them anyway. So for that, I've gone for Phelan, just because I literally don't know as much, I think, about Enclave's team. But again, I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest.
I think Phelan as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Phelan as well. I really like Sawyer as well. Like from what I've just like looked at and seen and seen how he's performed, I think he's actually a decent player. And obviously, like I mentioned before, but Bertrand, I think if he does really well, I think he could be a pretty high level top laner. Yeah,
I think Bertrand and Angel are probably, even if you include Angel's experience advantage, like he's played for ages, I think that's pretty even matchup. In fact, I'd put it towards Bertrand personally, but that's just because I liked more of what I saw from him last split. I'm a bit biased because Angel is, expected to do better as a veteran, whereas I honestly expected nothing of Bertrand last split, and he impressed. I think Spectre is better than Durking. I think Spectre is really heavily underrated. I think this guy's going to be really good. I could eat my words, but yeah. I think he'll be better than Durking. And then I think Heathen and Raisins, it's these 2 UK sports that have been around a while, they're fine, they're not. I don't think either one of them outclasses the other particularly hard. I might give a little edge to Raisins as well, and I'd say he's got the better AD. And then...
Do you know anything about Cleanse? Because I don't really know.
I've played with him in solo queue. He's had some games where he looked really good, where he's won the iron in Challenger, so he's clearly not completely terrible. And I've seen him games where he's entered, but that's kind of standard. So at the very least, he's a legit Challenger player. Which
is this his first? This is his first organisation proper going in.
Yeah, it's his first time playing comps, as I know. But yeah, I mean, being a Challenger player doesn't mean as much now as it used to season 3, 4, when in UK season there was 2 teams with Challengers and there was teams with Diamond D2, D1 players. But he is at least he hasn't played any comp, so all I can do is say what's his solo queue, and his solo queue is he's a legit Challenger player. So I can't really expect more than that. The thing is, there's a really high variance, especially with junglers, on first time in competitive, because you can get by in solo queue essentially not really knowing how to jungle, or being like a really flippy style of jungle and playing against someone in comp where you can't just invade with no prio and get away with it. Like Cleanse might just have a really rough time, but I think he's decent. Like, I'm not expecting him to be terrible, and by the end of this spot I think he should be pretty good.
Cool. And that was the last match, and I think that's all I had on my topics list for the episode. So I think we're kind of ready to round up.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to touch on, Tom, or anything you had to say, Prosfair?
I'm just interested because I want to throw this question out there.
Mm-hmm.
What are people, if we had to say predict the season off our not knowing how everybody plays competitively, what would be the top 4 then? Like, so we all want to know that in terms of order. Like, does anybody think that there would be like a 4th contender or anything like that as well?
Mm.
Because I'll start first anyway to give you a bit of time. I'm gonna say it's probably, I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go NVision, XL, Fnatic, and then M&M, if I had to have a guess. That's my top 4.
That is bold. So,
obviously, that doesn't
1.
take it to playoffs. So, yeah, NVision number 1, yeah. No pressure, Prosper.
Sure, okay, no pressure. I mean, it's pretty... There's more pressure on me for other reasons then.
Yeah.
Well, this is now the deal breaker to wait till now. I think it's really hard to narrow down. Like, I'd obviously put Fnatic, XL, and us as in any order top 3. Nailing the fourth team down is really quite difficult. Like, the only thing I know is I wouldn't put Enclave there. Like, I just think even at their best, because when you're kind of thinking what team will make playoffs 4th, you're kind of thinking like, how do these teams play at their peak level? It's like, I don't know enough about Flares and Sybil. But if they're good, Barrage could be a really good team. I think Demise looks like the most likely candidate for me. But then M&M have a lot of question marks that could be really good. So, I'd say probably Demise and M&M are my picks. If I had to pick one, I'll probably go for Demise, because I think it's more likely they peak. But I think M&M, if all their pieces fall into place, has a much higher peak, if that makes sense. Because I think I'm kind of just betting Soft Camera, Achu, and Epheus are all okay, but not great. M&M will still probably be 5th, and Demise 4th. But I also think there's a chance that Soft Camera, Achu, and Epheus all really play really well, and this team's 4th, maybe even, contending for 3rd, taking games off the academies and us. So, yeah, I'll say Demise. I'm going to pick Demise to be 4th, with the caveat that I think M&M, if the split goes well, has by far the highest peak of any other team.
Fair enough. I think I'd put Excel number 1, kind of for what I said earlier, that they should, at least the first few weeks, I reckon they should be the strongest team on paper. I'd probably put Fnatic 2 and then NVision 3. And then, yeah, I think the 4th for me would be out of M&M and Demise. And I think I said Demise would beat M&M. So I've got to kind of go for Demise. So yeah, I'd say Demise 4th as well.
Yeah, because that conversation itself kind of reiterated that, like, that's why I said top 4, because I was like, we all know what the top 3 is going to be, but that 4th side is going to be, and if it's anything like what happened in summer, you never know what might happen, because Feeling just suddenly did mental thing, and maybe that's what I think with M&M as well, because it's 3 Feeling players there, so when it was playoffs, they played great.
They've got Pad, haven't they, as well?
Yes, and they've got Pad, who helped with the miracle run of Feeling in
like
the
day
summer.
he joined, and that was it. It just clicked.
The thing with the game in Season 10 is that it's not really a lot about individual players, it's about how your team works together. You can overcome quite a big skill deficit in players as long as your team meshes well.
Mm-hmm.
So, towards playoffs, it really it's anyone's game, because as long as even if you only have one player to play off that's like on par skill wise, as long as the rest of the team facilitates around that well and utilizes that well, all you really need to play League of Legends is one point of pressure that you can draw from. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, this split. Because I think there are like essentially 7 teams that could make playoffs. And honestly, like I'm saying that like Enclave don't have a chance, but like they do. Like they could also. Like I wouldn't be surprised. It's just they're my least likely candidate.
Cool. I think I've got one more question for you, Prosfair, before we finish. Then,
Sure,
quite off topic. Who should I be playing in season 10 to rank up in support? Because I've had a shocking start, and when I say shocking, it's really bad. I finished.
Don't worry, I had a really shocking start as well.
Well, I had a shocking start, and then the rest is carried on being shocking. So I don't claim to be like particularly good. Right, I finished Plat 4 last year, and I got placed Silver 2 this year, and I played 50 games, and I'm still in Silver 2 with a negative win rate. And I think my hands have just stopped working.
Yeah, I had a negative win rate up until like last week. I was literally like 30% win rate on Leona as my most played.
Because I was
quite shocking.
I was last year like a Morgana one trick. I had like 60% win rate. I was
Morg is not good now. I'll say that much.
That's a bit comforting for me to hear, because this year I've played like 90% of my games in Morgana, and it's like literally 30% win rate.
The issue that people had is they think Morg is good into these CC bruisers like Leona and Nort, but actually these are bad lanes for Morgana. Not a good Nort and Mortis and Leona actually know what they're doing. Your Black Shield is useless. It's not going to do anything. So
who should I play then? Who should be my
I'd say Leona is good. Pretty much you want this kind of like trifecta of Leona, Thresh, and Braum, I'd say.
Okay.
My rule is I pretty much blind Leona, because you can always do stuff. You can always go in and you can just AFK lane and roam, or you can CC in team fights. She's always strong. Thresh counters Leona and counters Braum, but blinding him is kind of hard because he gets kind of hard countered by some other things. And then Braum pretty much is like my counter to Leona. Like Braum does really well into Nautilus, Leona, stuff like this. So I'd kind of be bouncing on that, but realistically at your elo you could kind of play anything like range down.
Yeah, it's not the champ, it's actually just some rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be winning on support, you should play those. But if you want to be winning, you should play Senna AD. Because this champion is incredibly unskilled. It's disturbingly unskilled. Like,
Alright,
Afilas and Senna are broken as fuck.
Yeah,
Afilas is not the champion if you're not already like in Grandmaster Challenger. Senna is so easy. Just play Senna and win.
Alright, okay. I'll become a Senna one trick, and I'll see you in the UKLC in summer.
Nice. I'll see you there.
Alright,
I'll see you on the lift.
Okay, cool. Alright, I think we're done then for today. Thanks for Prosfair for coming on. Good luck against Excel.
Cheers, thanks very much.
And good luck for the split. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Tom, thanks for coming on again, but you have to be here now because you're the co-host, so don't even have a choice anymore, so I don't have to thank you that much. Any last words from anyone?
Apart from thanks for having me on the show, and it was good to be here. No, I'm fine.
Cool. Thanks for it. Good to have you on. And yeah, for any listeners, be sure to depending on when you're listening, if you're listening on Spotify, follow on there. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe on there. And you can follow us on Twitter at NineTeeSix, NineTeeSix. And that's it. Thanks for listening.